And this is the truck. Check this out. Dual system, looks like no mufflers, so it should be pretty loud. Yeah, Ford 350. Holy moly. Look at this. Super nice wheels. Ford 350. Wow. Looks like brand new. I love this. So imagine how much money you have to spend to make it look like this. Even the mirrors are new. Look at this. Wow. And it's manual transmission. Nice bed. Oh yeah, he has mufflers in the front. Oh, super. I know what it is. It's a Flowmaster, either Super 40 or 44 on each pipe. And he can do fifth wheel. I have another one here. Nice. Nice, nice, nice. Super remote location, and they gave me the wrong address. The customer supplied the wrong building number, and you know, I tried Google Maps, I tried Apple Maps, and they all give me different directions, and the actual location is here. Some kind of abandoned park, birthplace forest. I don't know what it like. Basically them building a park, but I just drop off the machine there in the back. So it's some kind of a youth hockey club, and there's nobody there. The gate is closed, and I asked the guy, I said, so where do you want me to leave it? He says, oh, just if the gate is closed, just leave it near the fence. I said, okay. And because it's an expensive item, of course, I always take a picture. I took a shot and texted to him, delivered. And okay, better get going to my pickup. So I did one delivery, so drop off this boom lift, and now I'm picking up a scissor lift at the Bentley dealership. I dropped it off yesterday. It was a kind of like a cluster, you know, nightmare, because all these dealerships, right, they're so busy. And the guy was like, at least I had to look at these Bentleys, you know, like the guy was, I asked him, where do you want me to park it so it's not in the way? And he says, yeah, I feel like that's what I have to deal with. I mean, not deal with, but in the middle of the city, we're looking at a forest. You know, beautiful. Yeah, some kind of a park they're gonna make here. So anyway, I asked the guys there, so where will it not be in the way? And one guy says, I don't know, wait, Sergey. I'm like, what? And I see a Russian looking guy, and his name is Sergey, same as me. So Sergey, where do you want him to drop this so it's not in the way? And his English was pretty good, except yeah, he had a slightly worse accent than me. but he was saying he was moving cars. So basically he was a driver. He was just moving cars from the shop, from the service shop into parking. Imagine like the job, like you move super expensive, you know, Bentleys and Maseratis, you know, like all day. Well, he's probably doing like minimum wage, but oh, somebody, what is this? CCA, truck driver training. So another guy who dreams of a long haul trucking and big bucks. And so yeah, this guy Sergey tells me, okay, park it over there so that it's not in the way of me moving cars.
At the light, turn right onto 58th Avenue.
And so I remember where I parked it. And so now but now I'm not gonna make the same mistake. I'm not going inside the dealership. I'm just gonna park the truck on the road because it's pretty close. I'm gonna park the truck on the road and just drive that scissor lift to the truck. No big deal. A few cool cars at that Bentley dealership. There's a bunch of car dealers out there, and these guys had a few of I think they were Lotus. Is that a Maserati? You know, I'm not an expert on these expensive vehicles, but a bunch of two-seaters. You know, they all super aerodynamic with very low profile in the front. Like, you know, the radiator is like hard to see, like there's no grill, and two seats, of course, all luxury, like leather, you know, stuff like that. But one had a bunch of stickers, kind of like a race car, you know. It was a very interesting color. I think it was bright yellow, but a low suspension, you know, like a couple of cool cars. And then right there, you know, usually I don't have breakfast, but today I feel hungry for some reason and tired, because yesterday we did a lot of scaffolding. Basically, yeah, yesterday was an interesting trip to a scrapyard. We had about 50 frames, scaffolding frames, 5x5, and they were all basically defective, either bent or broken, or locks were broken on them. And so my dispatch says, so grab a helper and load everything, all these bad frames, they were in one specific place. Get those frames with a helper and take them to a scrapyard. And also they said there's a skid with skid steer wheels. You know, like we have a couple of wheeled skid steers. And so what they did is they removed the rubber, the tire from the rims, and there was like 4 rims, but they're super heavy. So they put them on the skid. We put a couple of pieces of wood on top, and then 2 straps, and that wood was holding them, right, so it doesn't cut the strap. And we went to a scrapyard on Ogden Road in Calgary, it was just over 2,000 pounds. You know, they scale you when you go in and they scale you when you leave. It was over 2,000 pounds, so we got like $168. You know, they pay you for scrap. But my helper was saying, man, like the other day he used Scrapyard like last year. He says prices were much better. So it looks like, according to him, prices on scrap went down. So I don't know. But anyway, so now when I picked up the scissor lift they left it in the same location. The key was in the lock, so I didn't have to use my own key or go ask, you know, who has the key. Because sometimes that's what the customer does, you know. They take the key out and they leave it somewhere, let's say, with the front desk. But the dealer, the actual dealership, does not open until 9. And so it would be difficult to find the key if it's inside, you know, like say the front desk or something, or reception. And so yeah, the key was there. I started it, drove it out on the road, loaded it as you saw, no issues, put 2 chains on. And when I was leaving, yeah, I felt hungry, so there was a A&W right there, you know, like a burger place. And this is a Canadian version, even though it has the same name as the one in the States, but it's totally different from US. Like the food is totally different. Like the burgers are thicker, like the meat, you know, the patty. Like, I'm serious, because, you know, I remember I was in the States and I see A&W, hey, you know, familiar sign. So I go there and all the burgers are like nothing what you have in Canada, because basically all the patties were kind of like at McDonald's, you know, very thin, and different bread, everything is different. Here they use local beef, and according to the signage or marketing, you know, signs inside, they say no chemicals are used, so it's all natural beef from local farmers. And it does,
Next light, turn left.
and it does taste, you know, pretty good, except when I went in, there was a lineup. There was an older couple ordering, and of course those guys take forever. Tea, and the girl behind the counter says, what tea? Like there's like 10-15 different types.
At the light, use the left lane to merge onto Highway 201.
And the guy just points at the board behind her with the picture. Okay, that one. And then there was another guy behind them, like basically in front of me. So this older couple was ordering, and then there was another guy in front of me. So I said, no, that's it. It's gonna take too long, because I only have you know, 30 minutes. So I thought if this would take like 5 minutes, then I just, you know, I tell the dispatch, hey, I took a 5-minute break, and then I just the remainder, you know, let's say 25 minutes, I take after. But this was, I knew that this would take like 10-15 minutes. Oh, and then of course you have to wait for the burger, especially in the morning. They take a long time, because the main food is breakfast food, which is like eggs, bacon, you know, like A&W has, I don't know about the States, but here in Canada, in the morning they have the breakfast menu, right? You can still get a burger, but because those are not prepared, it takes longer than if you order burgers, you know, during lunchtime. And so I thought, yeah, that's it, that's too much. I have to get going. And so yeah, only spent 2 minutes in that burger place, jumped back in the truck, and now I took the Glenmore Trail because there was some kind of a disaster traffic conditions on Deerfoot. I hate that highway 2, and so I took Glenmore Trail east to the ring road, and here I am. We have a tanker, a double tank, a Mack truck. I don't know how these guys are pulling double tankers, you know, with that weak ass motor. Because I had a Mack, right? I know that all you can get is 500 horsepower, 13-liter engine. That's it. As you can see, the weather's beautiful today. the sky is not exactly blue. There's some kind of a, I don't know what you call it, but kind of like fog or something, you know? Or maybe it's just pollution. But as you can, I don't know if you can see it, but not exactly like blue sky, you know, that you have on a summer day. And one thing still surprises me when I drive, like how much water we have here. Like every couple of, you know, every kilometer there's a mini lake on the side of the highway, and it just some of them are just a puddle, others are quite big, and there's all kind of geese and other birds in there. So that's what I'm looking at when I'm driving. I'm being passed by Peterbilt. Damaged sleeper on the right side. It's pulling a very old step deck, triaxle. The floor is all, you know, pitted and holes in it. British Columbia license plate. Yeah, I came back to the yard, and they gave me a small scissor lift to deliver, and it's a nice little trip. Oh, look at this guy! Wow, lots of, I'm guessing it's some kind of either plywood or lumber, triaxle flatbed. Yeah, and I'm delivering the small scissor lift to Airdrie, a small town just north of Calgary. And I'm on Deerfoot Trail, Highway 2, heading north. And I'm just wondering if that stupid scale is going to be open, because it's most of the time it's always open, and you have to do like 10 kilometers an hour going through the scale, so it takes forever, you know. And my beloved Durango is gone. A guy picked it up at 9 a.m. today. He's gonna be renting it for, I think, 3 days. I'm making 280 bucks, and I spent I think like $80 yesterday on gas, because it was pretty much empty. So I spent 80 bucks on gas, and I spent $26 on car wash, you know, those where you wash it yourself. So I cleaned up the carpets, the floor mats, the car inside and out. I especially like, you know, they have that one of the steps when you wash your car is tire cleaner, and it works very well. You know, tires look really nice after. And so I did that. I put the key, because, you know, of course I start work at 6:45, so I cannot be there for 9. And so I put the key in a magnetic box. Like I bought 2 of those on Amazon. A friend of mine from Montana who does this as well, this rental gig, he sent me a picture. I said, what kind of box are you using? And he sent me a picture. I found it on Amazon Canada. They were not expensive, but they're very durable. You know, you lock the key inside, it's like waterproof, very strong double magnets on it. And so before I left for work, I hid the key on the vehicle in that box, and then I sent him instructions half an hour before the rental was supposed to start at 9 a.m. So 8:30, I sent him the instructions where exactly the car is parked and where the key is. And the guys never answer. Like this, my customer number 5, I think. They never say, hey, the car is picked up, you know. Like basically the communication from customers is very poor, you know. Like I give them this all info, at least acknowledge, you know, like thanks or something, nothing. So the only time I'll know that I said, if you have any trouble finding the key, let me know. And of course nothing, no reply, nothing. And so the only time I'll know that everything was fine during the pickup is when I come home at night after work and there's no Durango in the spot. So that means that the guy took it, right? And this customer, he's from Toronto. I think it's 3 days or 4 days. So yeah, today is Thursday, so we're gonna be using it. So tomorrow is 1 day, Saturday, Sunday. I think he's returning it Monday. And I'm gonna tell him put the key in the same box and hide the box in the same place where you found it. All right, so this guy is slowing down, the guy with the lumber. You can probably see because there's a light, that flashing light. You can see it from far away if the scale is open. And like I said, it'll take a very long time, and there's no way to bypass it. Uh-oh, he's changing lanes, so that means that the scale is closed. Yes. Because how do I know? I see the sign for the scale and there's no flashing light. And of course the guy changed lanes. You see, he went into this lane, my lane, curb lane, because he was getting ready for the lights to start flashing. I'll show them to you. So here's the sign on the right, says scale 1 kilometer. Here's sign number 2, says next right. And here's the dreaded sign with 2 lights at the top. So if they're flashing, you have to report to scale. And that's the scale on the right, that's the ramp, and you just go there and you drag your ass at 10 kilometers an hour. Oh, I'm guessing they're doing some kind of work. There's a guy there with some kind of a machine in there. I don't know. Oh, he's just on the trailer. I guess he was just scaling himself or something. Check this out. It's a very cool old pickup truck, but it looks like fully restored with dualies in the back, and I see very nice tips, like dual exhaust. And check out the license plate, RSTYPKT, a rusty bucket. But look at the truck. It's I think it's a Ford. Man. And it's all like black wheels, you know, like fully restored. I think it's a Ford, maybe it's a Chevy. Yeah, I'm just arriving at my delivery location. It's an ambulance station, EMS. Wow, nice. And this is the truck. Check this out. Dual system, looks like no mufflers, so it should be pretty loud. Yeah, Ford 350. Holy moly, look at this, super nice wheels. Ford 350. Wow, looks like brand new. I love this. So imagine how much money you have to spend to make it look like this. Even the mirrors are new. Look at this. Wow. And it's a manual transmission. Nice bed. Oh yeah, he has mufflers in the front. Oh, super! I know what it is. It's a Flowmaster, either Super 40 or 44 on each pipe, and he can do fifth wheel. I have another one here. Nice. Nice. Wow, I'm running into some really interesting vehicles. Check out this Argosy. Again, looks like brand new, and it's just a single axle, and he's hooked up to this trailer. See, like it's on the frame. Very weird connection. Kind of like what they use on pickup trucks. No, and over here, you see that thing? That's I know what it is. That's for a bike. Motorcycle. That thing goes down and he can load a motorcycle in there. Wow, fancy. Yeah, that's an Argosy. Cabover. I'm guessing somebody is a former trucker and he got rich because he probably found what is this? Where are we going? My Apple Maps is silent, not telling me which way to go. So I'm guessing it's, yeah.
Left.
It's
At the stop sign,
okay.
turn right onto Kingsview Boulevard
So it's a, I'm guessing it's a former trucker who got rich somehow, but definitely not through trucking. Maybe he found oil in his backyard, you know, or gold. Maybe some hidden treasure buried by pirates of the Caribbean. And then he bought somehow this fancy truck. And by the way, they don't make them anymore. At least here in North America. They stopped making them some 10 years ago. But you can still buy them in Europe, right? But that's pretty expensive to bring them from over there. It's taxes, shipping, and all this good stuff. And then you got an RV. And the vehicles, of course, look very well taken care of. Well, I was hoping to find a fast food place somewhere here, but it's all industrial. Alright, because now it's, like I said, I'm getting hungry and it's 10 o'clock, but I didn't have any breakfast. As usual, normally I just have an early lunch, like around 11. Well, basically, yeah, so the machine is delivered. I took a picture, texted it back to the customer, said delivered. He said thank you. All right, so another happy customer. Heading back to base, see what else they have for me. But yeah, first I'm gonna take a break. Okay, what do I feel like today? Yesterday I had the mucho burrito. Amazing, you know, they have these tacos, small tacos. Oh man, I'm talking about this and I'm already wanting it. So there were tacos, and I, you know, of course you tell her what to put in. I said I want pork carnitas, and then I added some, just a little bit of quinoa, you know, that kind of like rice, right? Just a teaspoonful for the taste, and then some avocado, you know, guacamole, and then a little bit of corn and cilantro. Man, and those 3 tacos were 15 bucks. I said they look so small, I'm not sure I'll be satisfied. I said give me another one. And the second one, the fourth one was like $4.95, so it was super expensive, you know, like 20 bucks for 4 tacos, but it was well worth it. And so my choices, I can go to Kinjo, have some sushi. I can go to McDonald's. No, McDonald's is too early because they still have their breakfast menu. They switch at 11. Or I can go to Dairy Queen. You can, they have burgers there all the time. By the way, this is how EMS looks like. That's where I delivered this machine, the headquarters where all ambulances are. So this looks like a supervisor, because he's not in an ambulance. He's in what is this, Tahoe? Well, it's a Chevrolet, but it's either Tahoe or, well, I don't know. They remove all markings usually, these guys, you know, like there's nothing in the back. So it's either a Suburban or a Tahoe. Came to the plaza with all these fast food restaurants at 10:25. It was very set on Dairy Queen. Could see that flamethrower burger in my mind. And they open at 10:30. I forgot about this. And I cannot afford to wait 5 minutes because my lunch break is only 30 minutes. But I remember that the Subway, a couple of stores down, opens at 7:30. Okay, and so I went there and I went crazy with a foot-long meatball sandwich. Man, now I can hardly walk, you know, but that's like 900 calories. And also I had some just added some veggies, no cheese, toasted bread. The meatballs are great. And of course you get a free refill of a drink. So I had some Diet Coke. They didn't have, recently I've been in love with the Zero Coke, but they didn't have it. They only had Diet, old-fashioned. and that's what I had. So heading back to base to see what they want me to do after lunch.
In 700 meters, take a slight right turn to merge onto Highway 2 North toward Red Deer.
I'm in a pickup truck. This is after lunch. I come back and they say, well, we pretty much don't have anything. Like, it was super busy in the morning. There was like a lineup in front of the gate before we opened, and then there's like 5 or 6 pickup trucks pulled in. I had trouble, you know, finding spot.
Use the right lane to take a slight right turn to merge onto Highway 2 North toward Red Deer.
I had trouble finding a spot, you know, to move my bed so I can load. It was so busy in the morning, but then actually
Take a slight right turn.
then they looked through the system and they found a pickup order in the very south of Calgary. Just, you know, a couple of frames, a couple of decks, like a very small scaffolding order has to be picked up. And I said, I'm guessing pickup truck, right? Because yeah, it doesn't make sense to use the big Freightliner. And I look outside, we only have one truck, one pickup truck, this one I'm driving now, a Ram 3500, and it has 2 empty propane tanks in the bed, like the previous driver did not unload for some reason, and it's still hooked up to a trailer, to the trailer. So I went back to the dispatcher, said, guys, slight problem. I said, the truck
1.5 kilometers.
The truck still has a couple of propane tanks, I'm guessing empty, and it's hooked to a trailer. You want me to unhook and unload? They said, yes, please. All right, no big deal. So I dropped the trailer, drove over to the other side of the yard where we keep propane tanks, and there's a couple of, and there's 2 sections there, you know, returns and full. So these were super light, so I know that they're empty. At least they were easy to muscle down the tailgate. Put them in the where they belonged. And now I'm in this nice Ram 3500. I don't drive it often. Usually I drive an older, like one of the older Fords 350. And actually the guy, my rental custom, actually reached out. My phone beeped. I look at the messages. It says, we have arrived. All right. I said, have you found the key? And to my surprise, he answers, not yet. We are on the airport. I'm guessing he means in the airport. So arrived, like, so they booked the car from 9 a.m. and they only arrived at like 11:25, which is great because that means that I'll be paid for 2.5 hours of the car standing there, but it's as if they're driving, you know. So anyway, now I'm just waiting for his message. Well, I hope I sent him a picture. It's super clear, shows you the location of the black box, and I just hope he returns it in one piece and not too dirty inside. Because I always warn them, I say, you know, excessive dirt inside, especially, like outside it's fine, right? It's easy to clean, but inside where carpets are and stuff like that, I said excessive dirt on the interior can result in extra cleaning charges. And actually the rental company supports this, and you can just do like a claim, you know. Like I tried it once when yeah, my first customer, I kind of panicked because the guy returned it dirty, but I started a claim for extra cleaning fee, which is like extra $150, you know. Why not, right? And they asked me to send them a couple of pictures. I did, and they said no, that looks like a regular dirt, it does not require any special, you know, treatment. So you just use a wet, you know, towel, you know, with maybe some cleaning spray. So it's not like it was the vomit or something, you know. But yeah, if there's something like really bad, then we can charge him. They're gonna charge him $150, and I'm guessing I'm not getting the entire amount. I'm guessing I'm getting my percentage, which is 75%. So they keep 25, I'm getting 75. But there's no deductible. I can opt for, there's another plan where they pay me 80% from what they collect from the customer, but then there's a $2,000 deductible. So let's say there's a scratch, there's, you know, some cut or some repairs, I would have to come up with my own $2,000. So I don't want to do that. I'm on a tight budget, and so yeah, I'm on 75%. And then tomorrow I've been trying to sell my second camera, which I realized I don't really need two cameras, even though some people are saying, hey, no, you cannot do weddings with one camera. And I have a wedding photo shoot planned in June, right? And so I bought this second camera, Nikon ZF, and my first one is Nikon 6 Z6 Mark II. Now they already have Mark III, but it's like pretty expensive. But this ZF is an amazing camera with a new processor. I really love it, except the styling of the body, you know, it's kind of like old school. It's made to look like a film camera, which is like really kind of like a super nice retro look. But because it doesn't have a grip, which all modern cameras have, it's a bit difficult to carry, you know. Like my Z6 I can carry all day long in my hand because it has a grip where your fingers go, right? But this one you have to carry it either holding by the bottom or by the lens, because there's no grip. It's just the old school body in a new, with new electronics inside, you know. But its images are great. Autofocus is better than on Z6, and Z6 already has 4,000 shots, you know, because everybody, you know, the people always ask, how many shutter actuations? And all you have to do is just look at the last picture and see what the number is, right? Because they're all consecutive. And I looked and it was like 4,000. Holy moly. So I had this camera for 2 years, and the new one is $2,200 now, down from $2,700. I think that's what I paid. You know, it's expensive stuff, right? And so $2,200. How do you price a used camera that's 2 years old and has 4,000 shots, which is nothing? For these cameras, they can do like 100,000, you know. And so I said, okay, I want $1,500 That's 700 savings plus sales tax, which you don't have to pay when you buy from a private individual like me, right? And I had super difficult time. Everybody was offering me, how about 1,300? One guy says, okay, 1,000 and I'm coming tomorrow. Another guy says, okay, 900. So I dropped the price to 1,450, and I'm getting same offers, 1,300, even less. I said, okay, 1,400, that's it. So I changed yesterday night. I put, usually I don't like, you know, numbers like that, 1,400, 1,500, because people will start to negotiate down. So normally you want to use a number that looks like legit number, you know, like, I don't know, 1,295, 1,475, you know, 1,479, something like that. Because I read the psychology behind this is that people are less prone to bring the price down when there's like a number like that, you know, not a round number. But anyway, so I was ready to sell it for 1,300, and so this morning I got a text message in reply to my 1,400 price. Hey, is this available? Yes, it is. Okay, so tomorrow, hopefully, put a touch wood, this lady says, we are coming. I have no idea who we are, but where would you like to meet? I said, okay, you want to meet at your place or at the public place? I said, let's meet at the coffee shop. So I found a coffee shop that's close to me, that I know. I created a link and I send them the link from Google Maps so that they can see the location. And so hopefully tomorrow after work I'll make some money and I'll get rid of this camera. So that means that I'll have only one camera left, the CF, with my 35mm 1.8, 50mm 1.2, and 85mm 1.8, which is more than enough for a wedding. And we have 33 clicks to go. It was a 50-kilometer journey from our shop to the scaffolding place. And again, it's very small load, so 2 frames, it's nothing. Oh, and the boss says one funny thing that my dispatch says, we have nothing else after this. So he says, don't get any speeding tickets. Meaning, you know, drive slow. I said, okay. But anyway, it's hard to drive slow because there's traffic. I think, well, I have to slow down a little bit. So I was doing like 105, 110, just keeping with the traffic, you know. But yeah, there's cops here on this ring road. I'm taking the ring road, Stony Trail. This morning I was here. I saw a cop pull somebody over. And now they also active in that construction zone again on Deerfoot Trail southbound. Yeah, before, even in winter when there was signs 80 kilometers an hour, I don't know why they didn't remove them, because there was no construction until April. Like they stopped, I think, in December, and then there was nothing until April. But and so basically cops, they stopped enforcing the speed limit, you know. They only do it last season when there were people there, but now I see they started again because there's people working there, you know. But basically those speed limits during winter were just, somebody was lazy. They were supposed to remove them. So anyway, yeah, on my way. Beautiful weather. Now we have skies more bluish, and it's getting warm. Now we are at plus 12 C. Beautiful. Well, if they don't have anything after this, so by the time I should be at the scaffolding pickup at 12:05. So let's say load 15-20 minutes, and then I come back, it'll be 1 p.m. So if they don't have anything at 1 p.m, I'll go to Uber. I don't care. But I definitely make more money here, right? Because the hourly rate now is higher than what it was when I started, which is great. And I don't pay for gas, right? So they pay for gas. And prices, like I mentioned, they started creeping up again. So I saw $1.27, $1.12 at the Indian Reservation casino there. But yesterday, yeah, when I was filling up the Durango, it was $1.32. So 2 frames, check. 2 full-size 10-foot brace, yellow, check. 2 10-footed decks, check. 4 casters, 2 and 2, check. That's it, we're good. that's the house where I picked up the scaffolding in the garage, and it's interesting. It looks like this is the only new house on this block. Like everything else is already finished. People are living in it. See, cute houses. But it's all plywood construction. Oh, I like that green one. That one looks a bit, you know, stands out. So, and when you spend too much money on a house, all you have left in, you know, money is for a Kia. Kia Soul. At least this guy was able to afford a Ford F-150, but like older one, probably 10 years old. And this guy has a GMC Sierra, looks like either brand new or a couple of years old. Alright, so all I gotta do now is I have to check my messages in case there's something else they want me to pick up on the way back, because it's, you know, 50 kilometers back. And there's a pickup somewhere in this area. No pickups. And yesterday I got another booking for the Durango. So this guy that picked up my Durango today, he's actually returning it Sunday. So like I said, I'm making $275, and then June 19th to June 25 I have a gentleman picking it up, and I'm making $555. And then the best one is June 28th to July 4th, also 6 days. But because it's summer, the prices are up, and I'm making $701, $701.36, you see, which is pretty cool. But again, it's only one rental in April, one in June, and pretty much July. Well, middle of June and then end of June, so 2 in June. So hopefully it'll because it'll be returned July 4th, hopefully I'll get something for, you know, Stampede, which is the, actually I'll be off. See, I thought I'll be driving Durango when I'm on my vacation, July 1st to July 14th, but see, 4 days in July the Durango will be gone. And by the way, I'm still waiting for the new date on the Jeep Compass, because these morons, I cannot call them anything else, they just canceled the appointment, saying they, which was supposed to be it was supposed to be April 19th, this past Saturday, and they canceled it, saying that they're too busy, we have to reschedule, and that's it. So I'm still waiting for a new date. Like, how busy are these guys? You know, just crazy. And so imagine the worst case scenario is that July, the best time to do Uber, and I already lost
400 meters, turn right onto Cranbrook Manor Southeast.
I lost the Durango for the first 4 days, right? And what if these idiots from the hail repair company will say, okay, we'll fix your Jeep, you know, July 7th, and of course I'll have to give them the car because that's my only chance. Otherwise, they said the repair will cost $17,000, and so I still owe them $5 grand out of that is my stupid deductible, which I forgot to cancel when I moved from Ontario to Alberta. Because yeah, we never get this crazy weather in Ontario. It can be crazy, but not near the lake, not where I lived in Cambridge. And so I had that big deductible. Just to keep my monthly payments low, right? Which makes sense. If there's no bad storms ever in that area, why not have a deductible? And plus, you know, back then I was a trucker, So 5,000 was not a
Turn
problem.
right onto Cranbrook Manor South.
Like I'm being honest, even though I didn't make a lot of money after all expenses, but I always had something on my credit cards, you know, like I was buying all these toys, cars, you know. It was a good life. I have no regrets. But of course I didn't save anything. Through all years of trucking, I didn't save a single penny.
Turn left onto Cranbrook
I
Manor
tried investing into stocks, but did make money there, so I cashed out before I lost. I think I put like $1,000 at one point just in a couple of stocks, like individual stocks.
Turn right.
I still have the account, by the way, at my bank. I can trade stocks, you know, right from my computer, either in Canadian dollars or US. And actually, these few stocks I bought, they were from
Turn right onto Cranston Avenue Southeast.
they were from New York Stock Exchange, you know, which actually felt pretty good, you know, owing something. I mean, owning something, you know, instead of owing all the time.
In 900 meters at the roundabout.
If I run into something, some ideas, I might do it again, because, you know, I read a lot about stock investing. I'm you know, detail-oriented guy. I'm analytical. I like research. I like reading, and stocks actually make a lot of sense because, you know, makes your brain work, so protects you from Alzheimer's disease and all that shit. Gene Hackman, remember that story? I cannot believe how the guy, like, they showed his picture. He looked, when he was like, he died what, just recently, right? When he was what, 95, 92, and he had all kinds of like dementia, Alzheimer, heart problems, and he looked like a matchstick. How he changed, you know, when he was a famous actor, and he was never thin. He was always like, you know, good weight, you know, like he looked super healthy. And then they show his picture on the street, or I think he was driving a car or something, even when he was like 90 years old. Like, awful, you know. All right, so where are we going here? North on. Yeah, north on Deerfoot Trail. Okay. Actually, I did invest. You know, one of the stocks I invested in, I read a story about how Ford plant was testing robotic attachments for workers, and I'm thinking, holy moly, you know, that should go through the roof, you know. So basically, it's when people have to, you know, lift wheels and heavy parts in there. So they created this kind of like exoskeletal device. Basically, it's like a vest you put on yourself, and it has hydraulics. And so now, instead of, let's say, 50 pounds, you can lift 500 pounds, you know. It's like a suit, kind of like from, you know, science fiction movies. And I thought, man, if Ford, such a big company, is testing this, when the testing is done, and actually the story was saying that these things are super promising, and the stock was super cheap because it just came on the market, you know, like they had no, yeah, they had pretty much zero earnings because it's a brand new company, you know. But the idea was, you know, if the testing would be successful, and then more plants, more brands in the automotive world might, you know, use them. And then I thought, hey, this should be a 10-bagger, you know, when the price increases by 10 times. And guess what? It was like $1, then it started sliding down. So once again, I learned that, yeah, like the idea itself, the idea itself is not everything. You need to have good management in the company, right? You need to make money, show people some returns. And so yeah, actually I'm still checking on that stock, even though I don't have it, and it just goes up and down by a couple of cents, but you know, nothing major. So it was a disaster basically. If I had invested, let's say, I don't know, $5,000-$10,000, I'd be broke, because I would owe more money, because the price, I think at one point went down below like 50 cents or something. The guy on the right has two 53-foot trailers. So 3 axles on the truck, tandem in the back, and then 2 axles tandem on the end of one trailer, and then tandem in the front of the second trailer, and tandem at the end of second trailer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 axles. Which is pretty good. And of course he's struggling climbing the hill. There's this guy as well that just passed me. I don't want to pass anybody. Alright, like my boss says, don't get any speeding tickets. So my cruise is set at 100 kilometers an hour, but not my fault. This guy cannot even maintain that speed up this little hill over here. Oh boy. Of course there's a bunch of people behind me now. You see? Like I'm doing 99 and I'm passing him. Oh yeah, I remember this stuff. We got it usually in Ohio, you know, that's that material they use for roofing. Shingles. So this guy has a B-train full of shingles. It's called Dynasty. What is it? Beat it. Alright. Well, that's what it looks like inside this little telehandler. You know, it's a real small machine, so the cab is very small. And here's the key. And the parking brake has to be on, otherwise it's not gonna start. And this is your forks, you know, up, down, and then this is tilt. Forward, backwards. That's the only difference between this and a forklift. Now we're going back, but the machine, the brakes are on, so and by the way, here's this thing. That's how you can choose your steering. All wheels or just one axle, or I think opposite axles. Like very dangerous switch. Okay, brake pedal, gas pedal, and this is your forward, reverse. There's only one gear from what I understand. Oh, and that's your signal. So release the brake, raise the forks. Otherwise they're gonna hit the deck. Reverse. And this thing, one weird thing about this thing is that because it's hydraulic drive, you need to give it a lot of gas. Otherwise it's not gonna move. somewhere to park it. It. Now I just have to, and this is a genie. Now I just have to hide the key. I told the guy where I'm gonna hide it because he's not here. Man, so much dirt. And then just take a picture and send it to him so he knows where I parked it. So I finished work around 4 p.m. today and the weather's good. I decided to come out and see if I can book some rides with Uber. And I'm sitting in this plaza and all of a sudden unmarked police vehicles started to arrive. I wonder what I did wrong, you know, but I'm just sitting inside my Compass and watching some news on Google and YouTube. And first there was this guy. Hold on, let me change the camera. First there was this guy. You see this gray Ford Explorer in front of me? Like it seemed like a regular vehicle unless you notice those tiny lights. You see where it says Ford? He has two small lights on left and right, and then he has two small lights like now in the middle of the frame where your fog lights would be, right? And then it's hard to see, but I cannot actually wait. Yeah, see there's a camera, there's a radar, and over there there's a laptop. And when he was turning, he came like this way and then he backed, and I see that the guy is wearing a uniform and he has a mic on his shoulder. So definitely a cop. Okay, and then and then this guy pulled in. And check this out, a regular Ford F-150, even aluminum wheels that you will never see on a police vehicle. Normally they all have like black rims, and that's how you can tell if it's a cop or not. But recently here in Calgary, see like a nice looking Ford F-150, aluminum rims like I said. But then once again the guy was wearing a police uniform, and I see there's a radar in there, or is some kind of a dash cam or something, and he has a laptop in there. It's hard to see, but yeah, there's a laptop, there's a radar. Anyway, and I find that yeah, these guys, I don't know, this particular location just west of Deerfoot on Country Hills Boulevard is frequented by cops, because you know I have an eye for this, right? As a former trucker, or actually carrying trucker, because I drive a 5-ton truck, right? So I'm a trucker, and so I have an eye for this, and I'm always trying to, you know, pay attention to those little details. Like the most telling thing that they cannot hide, if you are behind them, there's lights at the top of the rear window. You know, there's usually like 4 lights, like 4 small lights, and you cannot hide them. But this guy, for example, he has lights at the top of the windshield. I can see like long kind of like lamps, right? And then he has those tiny lights in the radiator and where the fog lights are, right? And they used to have a bunch of antennas. That's how you can tell if it's a police vehicle, like unmarked, but it has more antennas. Like normal cars, we just have one antenna, right? But these guys would have a bunch of antennas. And so funny enough, they stopped doing that. That one thing I noticed, that they just have maybe 2 antennas, and they're all low profile, kind of like a passenger vehicle would have, you know? And so antennas are no longer, you know, a good indicator that it's a police vehicle. But lights still are, because they cannot hide lights, right? They need lights because when they stop somebody, they have to flash them, right? And so lights, and yeah, before, again, steel rims. Even unmarked vehicles that look like civilian vehicles, they all had steel rims because they are cheap. They were cheap. You know, police is cheap. I remember asking one guy, I said, why do you guys always have steel rims? And he looked at me, kind of like not understanding the question, and he says, well, that's what they give us. But somebody was saying, like when I did the video about this, somebody was saying that because of, you know, high-speed chases, you know, and sometimes they have to jump over the curb, they were saying that steel rims are more durable. They will bend, you know, from an impact, but they will not crack. Whereas aluminum rims, yeah, they're better looking, they don't rust, but if you hit something, they can crack, and then of course it's a write-off, right? But now, so antennas no longer a telling factor, and steel rims disappeared. So now they just have regular vehicles, pickup trucks or SUVs. So nowadays, yeah, it's only lights. You can tell by looking carefully at the windshield and the rear window to see if there's lights at the top, like small lights. Or of course, if the driver is wearing a uniform. Because I think what they should do next evolution, they should just wear a hospital uniform. I don't know why I say that, but imagine it's a cop vehicle, and inside you see a guy in a doctor's uniform, you know, like a hat like surgeons wear, and maybe a mask, you know, just trying to camouflage himself. Because, you know, like you're driving an unmarked vehicle, but you're wearing a uniform, and you have a huge laptop in the middle. So anybody who's like walking by or just looks carefully, they can tell it's a cop, you know. But anyway, and what these guys are gonna do after they have a meeting here at McDonald's, secret meeting, at the exit from this plaza, that's where they ticket people every day. I don't know, 15-20 people, and people still don't learn. Actually, there's a Kinjo over there. Kinjo has a sign inside. There's like a written sign that I once noticed. It says, no left turn from the parking lot, police are watching. Because yeah, there's an exit, and you can go left, you can go right, and when there's no cops, most people choose to go left back to Country Hills Boulevard. But there's a sign there, stupid sign, it points to the right, like a right turn only. I keep fuming about this, and that's how so the cop would sit somewhere nearby and would just stop everybody who's turning left, you know. And they would sit either in an unmarked, you know, either like a pickup truck like this, or SUV, that gray SUV like that. And I'm watching sometimes, and some people, they come to that intersection and they're looking left, they're looking right, and they're not sure, and they see this, let's say, pickup truck sitting there with flashing lights, and they're like, no, it's okay, and they turn left, which is illegal, and right away the guy jumps out of the car wearing a police uniform, flags him down, pulls him to the shoulder, starts writing a ticket. It's like the easiest money in the world for these guys, you know. Like, you don't have to fight the crime, you don't have to run after criminals. You just sit in your car, eat your donuts, drink your coffee, and you wait for some idiot to make a left turn. So yeah, anyway, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up. So I've been here like 40 minutes, no rides whatsoever. I checked the earnings map, it's low. I don't know, like, you would think that in a city with over 1 million people, and I'm near the airport, I'm like 5 minutes away from the airport, but this is not a good area for taxi work, you know, because it's all industrial. But sometimes I do get people that usually like Friday night, that people probably were taking transit or public transport all week, and then Friday night they finally say, okay, that's it, one day a week I can afford it. And so sometimes Friday night I would pick up people from this area, and surprisingly a lot of them live downtown or closer to 16 Ave, you know, closer to central Calgary. And so yeah, picked up a bunch of guys here. So anyway, what I was trying to say is that I think I'll just go home. And today I feel like pho noodle soup with chicken or maybe beef, because tomorrow is Friday, last day of the week, and this Saturday I don't work at my main job, so I can do Uber. I'll probably get up again at 4 a.m. and start doing Uber at 4:30, because I had good luck last time. Made almost $200 from 4:30 till 12:30. You know, why not? So anyway, sorry for the long video, and I see I have some new subscribers on the channel. Like, you know, I'm glad to see that the number changed from minus to plus. I think I checked yesterday, I gained 2 subscribers instead of losing 20 previous month, you know. So thank you guys for subscribing. So I'll try to keep it interesting, try to show you, you know, trucks I run into, like whenever I see some cool trucks or heavy loads, you know, when I'm on the road, because I travel every day all over Calgary. I always see some heavy equipment. Just I don't have the opportunity every time to film it since I'm driving, but stick around. I'll try to make it interesting. So the main topic of the channel is still trucks, trucking, but also more generally vehicles like cars, you know, SUVs, trucks. I love cars. And of course there's still videos about Uber and Lyft. There's might be some videos about firearms. Speaking about firearms, I have this rifle and it's been like 3 months. I haven't shot a single cartridge. And so if the weather is good this Sunday, maybe I'll go to the public land and I'll do a video about that, because I know some people, not many people, but some people are into this. And so I have this Charles Daly 12 gauge semi-auto shotgun, and now the new addition to my arsenal is the Mossberg MVP Patrol in 5.56 NATO. I never had that. I never shot that caliber before, so it will be interesting to see. I'm gonna bring both the shotgun and the rifle and see what kind of a difference is on, you know, on the impact when you shoot some targets. I'm gonna get some jugs of juice or pop, maybe some watermelons, you know, something that's not too expensive. And I have this folding table. Oh, and I have those steel targets that fall down. You can put them on the table, and when you hit them, they fall down. And then I have a couple of steel gongs that I erect on a T-post. And usually what I try to do is I try to create like maybe 6 targets, because that's how many, you know, cartridges I have in the shotgun, you know, 6. So you hit 6, so this allows the weapon to cool down, because they heat up pretty fast. And that's why it's good to have 2, because, you know, you shoot the shotgun, then the shotgun gets too hot, you put it down, you start shooting the rifle. Once that one starts getting hot, you pick up the shotgun. You know, I think 2 is the optimum number, because yeah, I did not realize this at first when I got that Mossberg 500M with the magazine. I bought a bunch of magazines, but one thing I did not know is that these things get hot very fast, and you cannot just shoot, you know, like 200 cartridges without, you know, burning your hands on a barrel. And plus it can damage the weapon, right? So anyway, that's it. Going home, gonna work on the video and get ready for tomorrow's last day at work, and then the weekend. So yeah, Saturday will be for Uber and Sunday will be for the public land, if the weather continues to be as nice